for today's Freedom Series live stream session with Clint X Morgan. Welcome to the show. Clint's a long-standing buddy of mine. We actually met, God, how long ago was it, dude?
Maybe 6 years, 5-6 years.
6 years ago, we met actually on the couch of a woman's place. Kind of stumbled in. You were there. We instantly connected. It was like love at first sight. But in all honesty, Clint, back then things have changed a lot for you. Back then, you're kind of trying to find your way through life, and since then, you've managed to build an incredible movement, the Freedom Era. You know, impacting hundreds and thousands of entrepreneurs around the world, helping them to create huge amounts of money online. So I'm super pumped to get into today's series with you and kind of just dive into a little bit more, I guess, around like your beliefs, your backgrounds, and how you guys have managed to do what you do. Because back then you had no social following, you certainly weren't an influencer, you weren't making much money at all, and you know, in a very 6 years is not a long time. Like, let's be honest, 6 years is not a huge amount of time. You've managed to impact, as I said, you know, thousands of people around the world, make huge amounts of money for yourself and for them, and now you get to live the amazing life with your partner, 2 kids, and obviously travel and do what you guys do. So for those that may not have met you before, you want to give a bit of a brief background about kind of like, I guess, who you are and more specifically what you do?
Yeah, man. And it's interesting you talk about that story when we first met. And I think the thing that I remember most about that time was at the time, I just sort of started with my network marketing business. And so that's been a 5-year journey now with that company. And I was sort of just getting started. You know, I had my machine, I was there, I was like talking about it. And we played The Wish. You know, playing The Wish. And
absolutely.
And we played this board game called The Wish. And it's funny because the reason it's funny is because I literally, this weekend, I went away with a few friends and I pulled out The Wish and we played The Wish. So I was telling before, because I'd never played it, Chrissy and I have played it, my wife, and it's actually been a really powerful piece in our growth. And every time we've used it, it's like we've created exactly what we've wished for. So it's super potent. But yeah, we were sharing with these couple because they weren't really sold. They're like, "What's this board game?" You know, like sort of like,
oh, the first time it's like, what are we going to invoke? Like these spirits to come, like, kiss us on the forehead.
Yeah. They were just a little bit skeptical, and they were like, "Oh, they wanted to do something else." Like, listen, guys, let me tell you the story. And so I shared like how I went to that house. I was dating a girl, you were dating a friend, and you know, I was like in this really tough space financially. I was living at home with my mum at the time. I wanted to get my own apartment, and but like the idea of getting like, I wanted to get my own apartment. So living in Sydney, wanted to get an apartment in Neutral Bay, and like rent was around $400 a week. And the idea of like $400 a week was insane.
Yeah,
it was so much money, and then getting a bond together, because you needed 4 weeks rent plus 2 weeks up front. I'm like, that's like fucking $3,000. I'm like, how the hell am I going to do that? Like, it's insane. Like, I just couldn't fathom how I was going to get together this money with my job and like saving. I was like, I'm never going to be able to move out of home.
Yeah.
And so I met Barry, and that weekend we played The Wish, and my wish was to move into this apartment, 1-bedroom apartment in Neutral Bay. And when Barry played it, I don't know if that was the rules, but when we played it, it was something we wanted to create in 14 days. And literally to the day, I moved into the exact apartment that I visualized and saw, and out against all odds, because there's all these other people that were lining up to see it. Like it was a hot market. There was all these other people that wanted it, putting in applications. But my application with no money, no record, no rental history, living at home with my mum, I got it. And I was like, really? Me? But in the same time, I was like, I knew I was going to get this bad boy.
Yeah.
And so that was sort of like the real start of my entrepreneurial journey. From then, I moved out of my mum's house. I was out, haven't been back since, and went on a real journey. And I think that business like has been a real pivotal part of it, and helped me to create the financial results that I have. But I guess the main thing that I'm super proud of and I love the most is our community. You know, we've really created a tribe of, like, in the Freedom Era, we have, you know, well over 2,000 members. In my downline, in my business, there's well over 5,000 people. And it's just insane, like the community. And I think what I love most is community, because like, especially in these times, like it's we need community more than ever. Like, I know that I have people there that I can call on that have certain gifts and talents and expressions and things that I can collaborate with and exchange ideas and exchange things and currency. And there's so much opportunity within our community, and it's super amazing. And it's really cool to do business with other people that are also on a similar journey. So I guess, like, me in a nutshell is, like, I was there, and now I'm here, and my life's very different. Where I have a couple of kids, I'm married, we've got a few successful businesses, and I really do have the luxury of being able to do what I want when I want. Except now, when I want to go down to Melbourne and record some music and some raps, but I can't because of those freaking restrictions. But apart from that, I'm pretty free.
Yeah. I want to touch on something there around defining moments. Before I do, though, I just want to welcome everyone who's watching this today. We are live across multiple platforms throughout the interwebs. If you're watching live, just holler, let us know that you're there. Rafi from our team is across the different channels, ensuring that any questions that you have, either for Clint X or myself, can get pushed through, so we can make sure we get your questions answered in the next half an hour or so as well. We talk about defining moments, Clint, and like, I've been in the coaching space now for a long time. Like, it's probably been, I say a long time, it's probably not been 9 years, but I've been lucky enough that I've worked with, hundreds and thousands of people around the world, most of which have been entrepreneurs, business owners. And, I'm just such a student of human behavior, and it's been recently, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on my own life and the success that I've been having of recent times, especially throughout the pandemic and the shift in the global financial change and everything else. And I'm like, what was it that got me here? And it's that whole saying, it's like, I'm an overnight success, 20 years in the making. Like, it's not even been the last 9 years that I've been coaching that's got me to where it is. It's probably in the last 18 years of my life that I have been in business. And there's been so many of those defining moments along the time, like we talked about the one with the wish, choosing to step in, choosing to essentially have trust in that it is possible, not knowing how. And I think Simon Sinek talks about it so well. It's like, with a strong and compelling enough reason why, the how takes care of itself. What have been some other defining moments for you that have kind of helped you along the way? Because it's no small feat, like building a community of 2,000 paid members as well. We're not talking some Facebook group people just opted in for. We're talking 2,000 paid members, right? As well as 5,000 you download. Like, you've got a huge community around you. What have been some of the defining moments for you, over the past few years?
I think one that comes to mind was, I share this story with our community a lot. And we'd been doing our business. We'd been doing it offline. We'd had some success, I'd sort of created 6 figures. I was doing all right, but, like, I'd sort of drifted in some old habits. Money would come and go. And, 6 figures is, what it's like. 6 figures, it seems like a lot, but when you get there, it's like, it's not actually enough to really do what you want to do. Like, you can easily spend 6 figures, especially when you're building a business. And so, there was some dry times, and we just started building our business online, and we'd sort of partnered with these guys that had this platform, and they were doing stuff online. They're doing it a little bit differently. And I was listening to a training, and it was like a Tuesday. I was like at home. I was like multitasking. So I was like, I'm doing the washing. I had to do the washing. So I was like, I'll listen to some audio. So I put on this call. I was putting the washing out, and they had an event, and we were in Gold Coast, Australia, and they had this event in Vancouver, Canada, and it was 1 week out. It was a week away. And they were talking about this event, and they were saying, like, the importance of event, what happens at event. And I had these people, and I heard that pitch before. I'm like, yeah, I know what people that run events are always talking about, how amazing events are, and you need to be there because they want to sell tickets and get people to the event. I'm like, I get it. I know that. I'm like, it's great, but it's on the other side of the world. I'm not going, and I don't have any money. But then something happened. They interviewed this dude. I can't remember his name now, but he was a young fella. He's only 15. And they said, listen, what would you say to someone who's sitting on the fence and, maybe he's thinking about going to this event, but it's not. And he said something really powerful. And he said, listen, like, it's not always the speaker at these events. It's like, it's a side conversation. You could go to this event and have a conversation with one person that may not be the speaker, that shifts something and changes the trajectory of your life, and you catapult into a different reality or something along those lines. And he's like, I'll do whatever you have to get here. Like, you have to borrow money from your grandma, do it. If you have to sell your car, do it. And I was like, fuck, I was like, my grandma's dead, but I was like, it's got to be a way. And in that moment, I was like, I need to go to this event. But my wife was 6 months pregnant, and with our son, And so I was like, I'm going to have to tell her, like, listen, I'm going to go to the other side of the world. And so I went upstairs. I said, "Hoi, babe." I was like, "There's this event on." I was like, "I'm thinking about going to it." And she goes, "Oh my God, same." Like, she goes, "I want to go so bad." And I was like, yes, like she's in, but I'm like, now fuck, I need to get 2 people to the other side of the world when we both don't have any money. But what it did is in that moment, we were like, we just decided that we're going to go. And so we just basically put everything that we could and really trusted and like set a powerful goal, because it was literally a week that we had to like get together the tickets, we had to source accommodation. We were actually living in this house. We had to move out of it. And by the time we actually like made because the point of like when I said I was going to go to like when we finally really decided that we're definitely going to go was about 4 days. So by the time we really decided that we had 3 days to get to Vancouver, and we didn't have any money still, but something flipped and we're like, we're 1 billion% certain that we're going to be there, or I know that I'm going to do everything that I'm going to do to make it happen. And from then on, we said, okay, how are we going to make money? So I was like, what can I sell? Like, who owes me money? Where can I collect it? Like, we had a couple little online courses. We created this like abundance bundle and put everything together and sold it cheap and launched it online. And then we had money started coming in. But it's funny because as soon as this money started coming in, at the same time, money kept going out. So it's like we're behind on like a payment for something. It would we'd get money in our account, then this thing would draw money out of our account. And it was this crazy experience. I'll never forget it. And I'm a big fan of John DeMartini, and he would always say like, you'll have an equal balance of support and challenge in life. You know, if everything's just in flow, then it becomes too easy. You don't have any challenge. But if it's just all challenge, then it'll be really hard. So it's like that equal balance of support and challenge. And it was a full tangible experience of that. Like this 48 hours was insane. Like I was on the go 24/7 full this time, like getting the money together and like trying to make ends meet, thinking of every way possible to make it happen. And it's a full story. I could make a movie out of this 48 hours. It was that insane. It was so much fun. But by the time we literally got to the, it was 2 hours out. We still didn't get the money. The money landed on our account. We called the airline. The airline had closed their booking. We're like, fuck, no, it was an online booking thing. They'd closed their booking thing. So like, shit, we just got the money, but then we just missed out. So anyway, we called the airline directly, but we had money in PayPal. They didn't accept PayPal. So we had to then call like Christy's uncle, who were leaving his car at his thing, to like borrow his credit card. And we're there, and it was like time had just slowed down. And we're in this like really weird time warp where everyone was taking so much time, and I had this like accelerated reality, but I knew we were going to get there. I had this real certainty, and crazy things happened, but we ended up getting literally to the airport. Everyone else had checked in. They escorted us because they could see on the look on my wife's face, she was 6 months pregnant, and they were about to tell us we couldn't get on there. And her face was like, I'm going to get over that counter and I'm going to rip your balls out of your body if you don't let me on this plane. And they're like, yes, ma'am. And so they escorted us through security. We got on the plane. We're the last people on the plane. They closed the doors. We sat down. And in that moment, I was like, you know what? Like, it doesn't matter what happens in the rest of this event. Doesn't matter what. Like the fact that we got on this plane, like this was the biggest transformational event that I've ever had, because we went all in. We gave it everything that we had. There was no stone left unturned. There was nothing that we didn't try to get there, and we freaking made it by the skin. Like literally, if it was probably 2 minutes later, we would have been cut off. Man. So it was this amazing event of like synchronicities and just really trusting and going all in, and that support and challenge. And because of that, when we went to the event was amazing. We were around like 6 and 7 and 8 figure earners, people that were really crushing it in life. And from there, we came back, and we were different people. We were literally different people, and we put together our events. And that was when things really accelerated and blew up. And I really feel it was because we did not give up in that moment, and we were rewarded for going all in on that instance.
Yeah, man, that is insane. If you guys are watching us live right now, start a watch party. More people need to hear what we're about to drop here. Hit the like button, let us know that you're there, and please post any questions or comments you got below. Funny you mentioned DeMartini, because as you're talking about the story, like I was freaking transported back like 9 years ago, dude. As you know, like went bankrupt for $1.3 million. Was like, what am I doing in my life? I'm so lost. Ended up coming across the Tony Robbins CD, listen to that. I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to be a life coach. I want to change people's lives. And more so I wanted to change my own life and work out how I screwed things up so bad, right? But I invested every single cent into coaches, into mentors, into courses. Like I went to Dr. John G. Martini and Tony Robbins and Pat Mesiti and, Robert Kiyosaki and like all the success events and Sharon Pearson and like you name it. And, I remember that every time it's like there was this cheesiness of the sales and that the hype and the vibe, but I bought it. Right. And to be honest, I didn't even consume all of it, but I just showed up and I bought it. I kept applying it. I remember, I think it was Pat Mesiti was drilling in, like, he's like, it's all about showing up, like show up, just show up. I rang the coaching institute because I was like, I need to do this coaching course. And I rang them up and I said, I want to be a coach. They're like, cool. It's X amount of money. And I said, I don't have it. Like, is there payment plans? They're like, oh yeah, we can put you on a payment plan. And they said, well, actually, because you're bankrupt, we can't put you on a payment plan. And I said to them, you're the only organization I know of in the world that promise a money back guarantee that if you don't make your money back of the course within 12 months of being like a certified life coach, the course is free. I was like, you're also an organization that helps people remove fear and scarcity. And yet you're telling me that you won't put me on a payment plan because I've been bankrupt. I was like, there seems to be something a bit of a miss here. And she's like, let me call you back. And she rang me back a few hours later. She's like, look, if you can come up with $2,000, like we'll finance the program. And I was like, done, I'll find it. My first coach that I hired, Mihi Taka, who became a good mate of mine, unfortunately passed away a little while ago. I went and sat down with him at a spiritual retreat and I was like, how are you doing what you're doing? Because I saw he was a successful coach. He was out there on stage and I was like, I was learning how to model people through NLP. So I'm like, how do you do what you do? Little did I know that it was like an hour and a half sales conversation where at the end, he's like, so like, would you see that if we could get you from here to here, would it be worth $3,500 a month? And I was like, absolutely. He's like, great. What do you need to know for us to move forwards now? And I was like, how I'm going to get the money? He's like, okay, well, let's do this, this, and this. I didn't have the money. And I signed up. I borrowed the money to pay the $3,500. I made $198,000 within 3 days, within 3 days of that conversation, because I leant into the uncertainty. I applied myself, I leveraged myself out, and I just didn't take no for an answer. I think this is the thing is that, being a student of human behavior, I see that the people that are willing to show up, right, and keep stepping into the uncomfort and the uncertainty, even if they don't get the results they think that they should, right? Because it's not our timeline. Like, I believe we're on God's timeline. And I believe that if we keep showing up, we'll end up where we're supposed to end up, but often it's not within our own perception and our own time frame.
I love that story. And I think like, I remember I was at a workshop not long ago and the lady who was running it, she goes like, I miss the garage days. And I was like, as I thought about that, I was like, yeah, like, when you started out, you're just trying to make ends meet, you're doing all that sort of stuff. Like it's really fun. And you're like, even for me, I was like, how the fuck am I going to eat? Like, just sort of paying rent and getting shit together to make that happen. And now it's like, it's different. It's like, obviously resources are there, finances are there, cash flow is good. Obviously it sometimes is better than others, but it's like, it's not that struggle anymore. But as you're saying that, I'm like, well, maybe I'm not playing a big enough game, like what's the next level? So it's like, you can play that, but in like a huge domain, like a huge, field, and I feel like, yeah, man, I just had a realization I need to really activate that and step into that, which I feel like I'm almost there. Like I have this vision and it's been with me for several years, and I feel like I haven't been ready, the world hasn't been ready, but now I'm like, I'm ready and the world needs it. So it's like, I'm excited about getting in and having those sort of experiences, because that shit's fun, man. That shit is fun.
Yeah. It's the reason that I shared that. The reason I shared that is because, like on reflection of success, like over the last few years, like I went through a period of time like, this is why I was a coach. I was like, is this whole coaching thing bullshit? Like, is it just some scam that gets money out of people, right? It's like, you go and pay someone to get coached by them and all they do is dig up all this past wounding from your childhood that you got to deal with. And it's like, where does it stop? And it's like, is that actually the way I should be going? Or, is it more so like just let sleeping dogs lie, find a way to be grateful in the moment, you know, appreciate what I've got and focus on where I want to go and like leave the past in the past. And so I went through this period of actually questioning whether or not coaching was a legitimate tool to actually help people succeed. And what I realized this year is absolutely it is. Like there is no freaking way in hell that I'd be where I am right now, you know, living the lifestyle that I live, earning the money that I live, you know, having the experience that I have, you know, the relationships, the love, all that sort of stuff, if it wasn't for those years of grinding it and putting the money in, investing in books and audios and coaches and mentors and workshops, there's no way in hell I would still be here based on who I was 18 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm here because of the investment in myself. And this is why I believe so heavily in, you know, coaching and mentoring, investing in yourself. And as you said that as well, it's like, you know, I think you can get to a point where you become comfortable. Like cash is good, but you're like, oh, like I don't need to invest in myself anymore. Like I don't need to read those books and get coaching and have mentors and like I'm doing okay. But equally too, it's like if we're green and growing, we're either green and growing or rotting. So that complacency can prevent us from obviously moving forward. And especially right now, like there's an increased demand and competition based on COVID. It's like there's a lot of overseas people moving in now on Australian marketplace because everyone's open to the virtual playing field.
True. And there was something that I thought, and I feel like, you know, the reason, and we've had conversations around this, is that, you know, even amongst these like uncertain times and, you know, with what's going on in the world, like it's uneasy and it is very uncertain. I feel we're only scraping the surface of what's to come. But it's because we've done this pre-work and we've put ourselves into the battlefield, and, you know, we've had these challenging circumstances and we've been on what I call the rice and eggs moment. Like literally my wife and I have had moments where we've had to like split payments to buy rice and eggs. Like that stuff builds resilience, and it's through these moments and through that resilience, like now I'm at a stage in my life doing that personal growth, like digging out the closet and finding those darker, uncomfortable spots. I'm like, bring it. Bring it. What else you got? Like I feel confident with whatever life throws at me, because I know that I can handle it, you know. Like it's going to be challenging, and who knows like how it can go, but it's like I know that I, like in myself, I feel good. It's not about what's going on out there, it's about what's going on in here. And if I feel good in here, then whatever comes at me from the outside world, I can handle it.
Yeah. And like, I don't know about you, but for me, you build a different relationship with it. Like in the past, it's like, oh, fuck, like, oh, not another challenge. And it's like this whole, like, move towards this because it feels great, and move away from that because it doesn't feel good. Whereas now it's like this or this. It's like, I'm showing up feeling the same, whether it's like the dark stuff or the light stuff. It's like my joy is joyful for both experiences because I've learned to accept and appreciate all aspects of myself and the human experience. Got a bunch of questions coming in. Welcome for those of you that are on the call. Please feel free to keep the questions, comments coming. There's one from Kobe from Brisbane. With so many powerful affirmations, abundance programs and trainings out there, how did Clint identify his abundance within his niche and differentiate your branding? Like, I guess, how do you end up where you are right now serving your people?
I actually had this conversation the other day. I was on a call with a few people from our team, and I think what I did, and I think it was a powerful tool, was I'd always be speaking into things that I was really learning. And so if I was challenged about something, so for example, confidence, like if I didn't have the confidence to like share or express something online, you know, sometimes you want to say something, but you're worried about the backlash, you're worried about what your friends and family may think, or, you know, you feel like you're an imposter, like maybe you're talking about making money, but you haven't really made any money. Is like, I would share about those things that I was uncomfortable with. And through sharing those things, it was alchemizing it within myself, because there's that saying, like, you don't do the thing to get the confidence. You don't get the confidence to do the thing, you do the thing, and that's where you get the confidence. And so by taking the action and sharing about those things, I was able to speak to the people that were also shifting through similar things, or maybe a little bit behind me, or around about the same path, and I was able to speak to them and their challenges, what they were going through, and then just have a little bit of an advanced wisdom on it. And something that literally I might have processed that day, but I was able to share it like from an authentic space, and it would just literally connect with people. And people would always say, listen, like, I don't know, like, I just resonate with you. Like, that often they couldn't pinpoint what it was. It wasn't anything specific, but it's like, they just felt this authentic connection. And I guess oftentimes, because I came from such a lack place and a real scarcity mindset, and I was really like literally living in poverty for several years, is that I was able to authentically speak from that space. And as I was going through it, I was alchemizing and sharing my journey along the way. And I'd always step into it. And even when I started making money, I'd start talking, sharing and running courses on how to create abundance. And for me, I was just getting started. Like, I was only warming up, but I had a level of abundance, you know, like that I'd experienced. And I wasn't claiming to be a guru, but I was just sharing what I'd done to create the results in my life. And through that, I'd connect with people, I guess in that niche and in those pain points, which resonate with them. And like, that's what really I feel is the essence of building a really strong personal brand.
Nice. I love that. That's awesome. Awesome. Question from Hannah. Good question too, Kobe. Question from Hannah from Melbourne. 2 Qs for Clint. How has Clint's life strategy evolved because of COVID? First question.
How's my life strategy evolved since COVID? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like I feel that there's a sense of urgency. And there's also this, like I sort of shared before, there's this activation. It's sort of like there's this part of me that's been dormant, and now with the world events and what's going on, I'm like, nah. Like I've seen like some of the darkness that's happening in the world. Like I've been aware of it for several years, but it's sort of like, yeah, it's happening. Yeah, it's there. It's messed up. I don't like it, but let's just get on with it over here and do what we're doing. But now I'm like, nah, like this stuff has to change. Like it's time. You know, I feel I need to step up. I need to speak out. I need to be a voice. And so I'm just feeling this like deeper level of activation. And with that, I guess how it's really affected me is like, like Barry said before, is like, I've really stepped back into the, I think I'd become sort of complacent in a sense. And I'm like, now I need to like go deeper on my personal growth and development. What am I hiding? What aren't I seeing? You know, like my health, like I'm at the gym, I'm training, I'm eating clean. I'm not drinking alcohol. Like I'm super clean. I'm drinking lots of water. I'm like, taking time for myself. I'm nourishing my relationships. Like, it's like I'm going into like warrior beast mode. It's like I feel like I'm getting ready for war. And not that I feel there'll be a war and I need to go out there and fight, but it's like, that's what I feel like I need to be prepped, because we don't know what's happening. And so I need to be in my best, clearest, most focused, aligned, you know, abundant, trusting self. And so I'm just prioritizing that. And from that, I feel like we're literally creating a new reality.
Yeah, love it. Love it. And second question from Hannah, could you share your daily routine and what for you has the main habit that gives you the most benefit?
Yeah, great question. And this is something that I realized just the other week, is like I shared about like stepping into the warrior. And one thing that I have done in the past, I used to be a personal trainer for several years, and I've always loved strength training. And but for some reason I just stopped doing it. I think it was when COVID happened, the gym closed, I stopped going to the gym, and then I stopped training. I started drinking more. I wasn't eating clean. I was just, then I started this unhealthy lifestyle. And it was only recently, like I hired a personal trainer. And so now I've been doing strength training 3 days a week, and I have a session booked in Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I feel that is the core element. Like if I can strength train, then I'm eating better. I'm not drinking. I'm doing my cardio sessions. I'm super focused. I look forward to the gym. I'm healthy. And then from there, when I'm in that healthy, focused state, then my business actions, my goals, my relationships, my energy levels, my focus, my humor, my state of being is heightened. I just feel better. So I'm like, I feel if there's one core thing, one action, it's doing weights. And if I feel if I just do that every single week, then everything else from there, everything will flow from that space.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great question, Hannah. And what I had to, like, it's important to find out what it is for you. You know, like I know for many years I tried to follow other people's routines, and it wasn't until I started to kind of like experiment within myself, I found what works well for me. You know, exercise is a huge part of it, as you said. Like if you're exercising regularly, mentally you feel better, emotionally you feel better, you eat better, you sleep better, and so forth as well. Another question here. Speaking of coaches, could Clint share who has the most impactful mentor been?
Barry. No, seriously, like Barry, you are one of them, and you've had a huge impact on my life. And I guess for us, we've been friends, and I guess I've never really worked with you. The huge thing was reading your book. Really had a massive effect on my life and how I viewed business. But yeah, man, you've always been there for me. You've always helped me. It's always like whenever I was going through one of those challenging times, somehow Barry would reach out and would be on a phone. He's like, yeah, man, let's have a chat. And he just helped me with something. It'd just be something small, and I'd just have massive shifts. So yeah, absolutely, Barry.
One of your spirit guides.
Yeah, you are. You're there. And we've always had this connection, and I've always felt like he's been super, like you really acknowledge me and see me, and that's always felt from you. So Barry.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, brother. So if you've got any further questions, now's the time to ask before we start to wrap things up a little bit. So I guess, Clint, freedom's an interesting word. Like what is freedom for you?
I feel freedom and abundance go hand in hand, but it's like the ability to do what you want when you need to do it.
Yeah.
Not when you want to do it, when you need to do it.
Yeah. I love that. For me, it's the ability to do what you want, when you want, how you want, with who you want.
Very nice.
Well. And as you read in the book too, that for a long time the freedom that I chased, I felt was financially, and then once I got the financial freedom, it was like, oh, now I need freedom of time because I'm working so many bloody hours. And it wasn't until after I got that and my experience in Bali immigration a couple of months ago that I realized that the freedom that I actually been chasing for this whole time, and the freedom that I think actually most, if not all, people are looking for, whether they're aware of it consciously yet or not, is the freedom to be fully self-expressed. The freedom to be seen, to be heard, to be understood. Yeah. And I think that's a freedom that, I don't know when it happened, but it was taken away from us. We live in just such a consumerism, a world of consumerism where everything is so busy. Everyone is, always got a million things on, that we've stopped, we've stopped remembering how to just be, and I think that has been a blessing out of COVID. Is it's helped a lot of people to realize the benefits of being in the smaller things in life. For me, being stuck in Australia has meant that I've had, the beautiful opportunity to spend a lot more time with my kids, which has been just such a blessing as well.
Awesome. Love that.
Clint, for those that are kind of feeling a bit drawn towards you and your message and what you're about and want to find out more, what's the best place for them to connect with you?
I'd say that you're absolutely insane. So yeah, if you want to check out what I do, go to thefreedomera.com. So the Freedom Era. And we basically have a platform where we teach people how to really create freedom of finances, freedom of time, freedom of expression in a really powerful community vibe where people are supportive of each other. So go check out that. And then if you want to follow me on my socials, Clint X Morgan, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you can connect with me there. Yeah.
And look, I've never been a fan of like network marketing or things like that. But what these guys do is very left field of that. And, I can contest their tribe, their community is freaking amazing. You've created phenomenal results and helped so many people to experience freedom of money, time, and self-expression as well. So definitely check him out, thefreedomera.com. The book Clint mentioned before is the book I published a little while ago now called The Path to Freedom, the 9 steps to create a profitable business that can work without you. We'll put a link below there if you'd like to get a copy of that as well. #1 Amazon bestseller. I think we hit 6 hours or something of launch, which was pretty pretty amazing feat. Clint, question for you. If you were to have a conversation with a 10-year-old version of you, so a little 10-year-old Clint, knowing all that you know now and having been through what you've been through, what advice would you give him?
I'd tell him that he's enough. That he's perfect the way he is. You've got this. Everything will pan out, and just keep trusting in your divine path.
Yeah, I love that. And I guess I'd just like to speak a different sec. Like anyone that's watching this out there that might be doing things a little bit tough right now, just know that you're not alone, and also know that there's many people around like Clint and myself that are happy to support you in any way, shape, or form we can. We're only an email or a message or a phone call away. We are going through challenging, tough times, but I also think though too, what makes it a lot harder often is our own mindset and the way that we perceive situations. And so, if you're finding that you're in a bit of a dark place right now, feel free to reach out to us or our communities, join the Freedom Series Facebook group online as well, because, all it can take sometimes is to be surrounded by, illuminary beings or people that are seeing the world slightly differently to get that new inspiration, that new idea, that new perspective that can propel you forwards, like the examples that Clint gave of his life and certainly mine as well. Like I'll never forget the people that helped me up in life and were there for me and had those conversations. I'm sure you won't either, Clint. So like, I feel you, I've got you back. Feel free to reach out if there's anything that we can do. More than happy to help you guys out.
Yeah, second that. Absolutely. I know it's challenging out there for many people. And like you said, it sometimes just takes a conversation or just viewing things differently. And I feel like there's a huge awakening happening. And with that, it's turbulent. But I feel on the other side of it, it's a real positive, amazing, abundant future ahead of us. And we just need to buckle up. And it's like when you go on a roller coaster, you know how like you go on a roller coaster and it's like this, but you have this like real turbulent time. Sometimes you want to vomit, you're shit scared, but then you get off and you're like, fuck yeah, that was sick. That was so fun. Let's do it again.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like this too shall pass. And like Helen Keller said too, like alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And, I've been in business for 18 years and it's shifted a lot. And I think that now more than ever, it's time for collaboration and community. And, if you haven't got a community around you, like look for one. It doesn't have to be us, but look for those that can support you and those that can see you and those that can kind of acknowledge you, and equally to call you out in your shit as well. And I think, another 6 months time, we'll be seeing a very different reality than what many of us are right now. So Clint, so grateful, dude, for everything you've shared today. Thanks for coming on the show. Thank you to each and every one of you guys that are tuning in live or watch the replay as well. That's all for me. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, legend. Great to be here.